Testing, testing.
There we go. We got you.
All right, let's start her over.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate it.
No, you're good. Yeah, just really excited to be here. Appreciate everybody being on behalf of our football team, our administration, Western Kentucky. We're just really excited to be a part of this game and really looking forward to Friday and getting an opportunity to play a great UTSA team and just really looking forward to this opportunity. It's been a long year, been a lot of ups and downs, but it's been a fun ride and really looking towards Friday. With that said, questions.
And we'll go ahead and start with Ken Capps from the FWAA, and then we'll follow that up with Ryder Martin.
Hey, Coach. Ken Capps from Football Writers of America. Congratulations on your season. The combination of Zeppi to Stearns has been quite amazing for you this year, and they're both right there at the top or near the top of their respective quarterback and receiving categories in the NCAA. There's some out there, though, that say, well, they're playing against lesser competition, so it doesn't really count. How would you answer that question?
Tell them to watch the Michigan State game at Michigan State. I think that's pretty good competition. And I think that those stats speak for themselves. And then, you go on the road at Army, second game of the season, 20-year anniversary of 9/11. Tough environment to play at the time. They were on a win streak that was pretty long, and I thought that was another good example. Come home, play a really good Indiana team at the time who should have beat Cincinnati the week before at home. And so I think it really didn't matter who we played. Like you said, that's a great combination. That's a great duo. Very, very talented group of guys, not only Bailey and Jareth, but a lot of these other targets with a Mitchell Tinsley and a Malachi Corley. And and a Daywood Davis. So, I think there's a lot of body of work there that shows that these guys are the best in the country when it comes to that duo and that tandem.
Thank you. We'll go to our next question from Ryder Martin from the Paisano. Ryder, go ahead.
Hi, Coach. Ryder Martin, Paisano. Congrats on your season so far. So you guys played a very entertaining game against these runners back in October, but since then you guys have won 7 straight to get to this game. For any fans that may be in San Antonio that haven't been following your program since then, what has really changed and grown about your program to get you guys to this game?
Well, I think early in the season, we played some really tough opponents back to back, and when everybody was healthy, and and I think those losses really helped make us stronger and bring us tighter together and allowed us to reevaluate our strengths and our weaknesses. And and UTSA is an exceptional football team, and what a great game that was during the regular season. And I think we came out of that game, saying, hey, this is at the time and still today the best team in Conference USA, and really felt like we could have won that football game and should have won that football game. And I think history, you learn a lot about yourself, and I think we've grown so much as a team, and really from the UTSA game on, we knew we were in control of our destiny if we could put all the pieces together, and found a way to put all those pieces together. And it's been a fun ride, and it's great to have an opportunity to play UTSA again. You don't see that a lot where you get that same matchup again. So it's going to make for an exciting game for sure.
Thank you, Coach. We'll move on to Greg Luca from the San Antonio Express News. Greg, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Greg Luca with the Express News here. I wanted to ask, how much of a factor do you think is the potential crowd noise in the Alamo Dome for the way your offense operates, and what steps are you guys taking to prepare for that?
Really good question. I fully anticipate it's going to be a great environment, electric environment. I've been in that stadium before. It's very loud because it is a dome. Think it's going to be a great crowd, so I do think crowd noise will play very much into it. You know, we're a silent count team, a clap team, you know, all those kind of things. So, you know, we'll have answers for that. But you know, I do think that crowd noise will definitely be a factor in this game for sure, and we've been preparing for that in our daily practice routine. And you know, our guys have been in a lot of big stadiums. They've played in front of a lot of big crowds, and so I don't think it'll affect them from that standpoint. But I do anticipate it being a loud stadium and an electric environment for sure.
Thank you, Coach. We've got our next question from JJ Perez of Inside Runner Sports. JJ, you can go ahead.
Hey, Coach, JJ Perez, Inside Runner Sports. Congratulations on your season. What did you learn about your team in that Roadrunner game? Is there anything you could take away from that first matchup to help you on Friday?
Yeah, the biggest thing was don't let them throw the ball over our head at will. That was the biggest thing. Man, what really good receivers they got. Quarterback Harris is spectacular, and you can go on and on about the running back. And so, you know, I thought we did a lot of really good things in that game, but one of those things that really stood out was they really took advantage of the explosive plays, especially down the field. We played a lot of one-on-one matchups outside, and Harris and the outside receivers did a great job of taking advantage of that. And really, we had good coverage, and they still made it happen. They still made the plays. And so, you know, if we can try to limit those this time around, that would really help us. You know, try to make them go the distance a little bit. You know, they do a great job offensively of creating the one-on-one matchups, no matter what you do. So we're going to have to defend them. But probably that would be the biggest thing taking away was they were able to create so many explosive plays down the field in that game and get some quick scores. So it made it hard for our offense. You know, we were able to counter back a lot of times, but if we can just limit those plays, that would be great. I don't, you know, again, I'm going to give them a lot of credit. I think it's going to be a great matchup, and they're going to make their plays, and they're still going to have explosive plays and those kind of things. But just be able to, you know, our number one motto here is get to the last 5 minutes of the game. You know, if you get to the last 5 minutes of the game and you're in it, then you got a great chance to win it. You know, a lot of games are lost before the last 5 minutes. So that's a big thing for us is let's get to the last 5 minutes and then go win the game.
Thank you, Coach. We've got Hector Ledesma from Sports Tonight in San Antonio. And a reminder, we've got a few minutes left here with Coach Helton. So if you have a question, please make sure you utilize the chat function to let me know, and we'll call on you before we wrap up and move on. Thank you. Hector, you can go ahead.
Coach, thanks for the time this morning.
Yes, sir.
Wondering, with UTSA having clinched the West Division a couple of weeks ago, how much scouting, how much prep went into the Roadrunners? I know you used to have the game with Marshall ahead coming this past weekend, but with UTSA knowing that it had punched its ticket, wondering how much prep started going into the moment they beat UAB.
Well, you know, the one benefit we have just because there's so much carryover of teams we play and they play in those matchups, and you're watching the cut ups and all those things, you continuously get to see the teams that you play on film. So you may be game planning for another opponent, but at the same time, you're taking notes on the what ifs. Okay, what if we see this team again? And so I think our coordinators and our staff have done a great job of always keeping tabs and making sure we see the adjustments of the teams that we played from the previous time, and UTSA is no different there. So I do think that full body of work over the weeks since we played them of continuing to see their film and our staff making sure they take those notes. And it's not just them, it's any other potential games that we might be in. And you're looking at next year and all those kind of things. It's just a part of the process for us. So it did help for game planning purposes for this game for sure, gave us a head start.
All right, and we'll go back to Greg Luca for another question. Greg?
Coach, your guys' offense is a very different challenge from what UTSA faces on a week-to-week basis, just with how fast you guys play and the amount of passing that goes into it. I'm wondering if there's any concern about a team having seen that before being able to adjust to it, or if there's anything that you guys have to sort of tweak to kind of work around that dynamic of a team that's already been on the field with you guys and seen what you can do.
Yeah, really good question. That's always in the back of our minds every week, because no matter what we see on film, we know there's a good chance we're going to see something different when we play that team. There's always going to be a change up there. Again, I think credit to our offensive staff. They do such a great job of having plan A, plan B, plan C. I think back to the UTSA game, early in the game, they came out and they said, we're going to play drop 8. We're going to be soft. We're not going to let you throw it. And we had success running the football. And so we took what they gave us there. And then in the second half, they kind of got more into who they are and what they do. And they had some more success defending us in that area. So we see that every week, week to week, even from first half to second half. I think Bailey does a great job of getting us in the right place. He's not a selfish player by any means. If you give us a good box, he's going to hand the ball off. He is going to take what you give him. And so I would expect, though, UTSA to try to do some things that would try to give us problems and issues. And we just got to be able to counter that. And it's kind of like a chess match, for every time they make a move, we got to make a move. So that'll be the fun part of the game for sure.
Thank you very much, Coach. We really appreciate your time. Hope you have a great rest of your week and good luck on Friday.
Thanks, guys. Again, thanks for being here. See you guys.
And now we are going to shift gears to our West Division champion head coach from UTSA, Jeff Traylor. Again, just a reminder, if you could please put that you have a question in the chat, just utilize the chat function to let me know. I'll call on you as we get this rolling. So, Coach Traylor, if we could start with a short opening statement, then we'll get into questions. And thank you again for taking the time to join us today. We really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me. We're looking forward to getting back home, the Alamo Dome, and from our fans who've been fantastic the entire season. We have a lot of respect for Coach Helton and Western Kentucky. We've already played them once, which I think makes that unique, and just an incredible ball game that ended up on the 1 yard line, right? They're 1 yard away from beating us. So that's how close both teams are. His kids play the right way. And we're excited, and I'll take any questions.
We'll go ahead and start with Ryder Martin from the Paisano. Go ahead, Ryder.
Hey, Coach. Ryder Martin, congratulations on your season, making the championship game so far. So you guys played, like you said, a very close game against them back in October, down to the 1 yard line and all that. How have you seen this team change in Western Kentucky to get 7 in a row and get back to this game to play you guys come Friday?
I don't know if they've changed. They were really good. They played a very tough schedule. I wouldn't have wanted to play Michigan State and Indiana. Those are really tough teams. So I just think they've continued to get better. And, it starts with their offense. They're very good at quarterback and receiver, and their line's very good. Their running back's good too. And they're very well coached. They know what they're doing. And whatever answer you give them, they've got a solution. So they give him total control of the offense. So whoever has the chalk last always wins. And when the quarterback's got the chalk last, that's a bad feeling when you're trying to scheme him up. Defensively, they're very athletic. They run to the ball, and they're physical when they get there. And they've been good on special teams all year. So I don't know if they're different. I just think they're just getting better every week.
Thank you, Coach. We'll move to our next question from Jared McDonald of the Bowling Green Daily News. Jared, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Jared McDonald with the Bowling Green Daily News. Obviously, Western Kentucky's offense gets a lot of attention because of Bailey Zappi and how they throw the ball. But they had one of their best rushing days against you last game, coming off their best rushing game of the season against Marshall. I guess, what do you think about kind of their balance and what they do running the ball, where most of the focus does get put on the passing?
They're well coached. I mean, they take what's there. So when they've got a light box, they're going to check the inside zone or whatever little scheme they've got for the week. And then the back's good. Both those backs that run the ball are good. And that's probably where people don't talk enough about how good their line is. I mean, they're very well coached up there. Those guys are mature and they block, and they handled us way better than most have. And so that'd be what I'd say to that.
Thank you, Coach. Our next question is going to come from Greg Luca. Greg, go ahead.
Jeff, what does it mean to your group to be playing for the conference championship for the first time, and how have you kind of seen that reflected in the attitude and the mentality and the approach to practice so far this week?
I was worried that we got so embarrassed Saturday. What was that going to look like this week? But if a conference championship did not get your attention, I know that what we did Saturday and then going to a conference championship will really get your attention. So we're excited. We've had 2 beautiful days here. I mean, the weather's been fantastic, and the kids have had tons of energy and flying around, and I know they're excited.
Thank you. We're going to go to our next question with Scott Bailey of the San Antonio Business Journal. Scott, go ahead.
Coach, part of what your mission has been this year is helping rebuild attendance from the ground up, coming off of a COVID year with almost nobody in the dome. And you're looking at maybe 40,000 or so on Friday. What goes through your mind when you see the numbers that are turning out now for these games?
That's why we signed a 10-year extension here. We believe in San Antonio. We believe in the UTSA school system. We believe that strongly. And we felt like if we put a good product on the field, we behaved correctly, went to class, just did things the right way. People want to root for good things, and our players are good people. And we've tried really hard to recruit San Antonio kids. And we just felt like the more kids we can get from the area, the more they'll come to the games. And obviously everybody loves a winner, but there's a right way to lose too. And we did not play well Saturday, but our kids handled themselves very well. I've been a part of teams where when the band goes all the way there and plays the school song after the game, when you get your teeth kicked in, you don't stand out there, especially in the rain and the cold. And our kids are out there. And I'd forgotten to tell them to. They just did it on their own. They're just good kids. So that's what I'm proud of, is people responding to some really good local kids that they're good people.
Thank you very much. Our next question is coming from Adam Rosso of Spectrum News. Adam, go ahead.
Hey there, Jeff. What does being at home maybe allow you to do differently on both sides of the ball versus being on the road or being on a neutral site against these guys?
Well, I know I don't have to worry about it being about 35 degrees and windy and rainy like it was Saturday. That's for sure. It's just sometimes it's an advantage to be on the road just because you have to worry about all the extra stuff when you're at home. But obviously the familiarity of where we're playing and our hotel and all those kind of things are different. But our crowd, I know how excited they are, and we're going to feel that when we get in that stadium. And but we're going to need them. I mean, we beat UAB by an inch, and we beat Western Kentucky by a yard. So it matters. Everything we can do to get in our advantage, we need it. So the louder they are, the more it's going to help us, we hope.
Thank you, Coach. Our next question comes from Sam Khan of The Athletic. Sam, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm curious. Was there any just building pressure on your kids because of the fact that you guys were undefeated? And does the fact that that's kind of out of the way now relieve any pressure, I guess, on your guys?
We've been talking about that quite a bit, honestly, Sam. I mean, I've seen it where sometimes one loss can turn into 2 and turn into 3. Are we going to let them beat us twice? I've seen that happen. Mature teams handle it the right way. And, a crisis in your life, it can be good, right? I used the analogy today that when I get these bad headaches, I always go downstairs and Nick tells me my blood pressure is really high. And just start eating more salad, Jeff, and drink more water and sleep more. And you know what happens? I start losing weight. I start feeling better. My headaches go away. And I know I'm making maybe a silly analogy, but what are you going to do with the crisis and getting our teeth kicked in Saturday? Are we going to make that be a good thing or a bad thing? We'll find out Friday at about 6, Sam. If I knew for sure, I'd have my hair, Sam. And you know I'm bald-headed for a reason.
Thank you, Coach. Our next question comes from Raul Dominguez of the Associated Press. Raul, go ahead. Raul, are you there?
That's about what it sounded like on our headset Saturday when the plays weren't working. Nobody was talking.
All right, Raul, we'll come back to you here in a second. We'll get to Hector Ledesma for another question here. Hector,
Hey,
go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Good morning.
Hi, Hector.
I know Frank is continuously forever battling bumps and bruises and whatnot. How is he this week heading into Friday?
Told y'all a million times, he's like a snake. You can't kill him. He'll be out there. If you ask him how he is, he'll say he's totally fine. You know, he's a tough kid. Loves to play the game, and he's the reason we're here. So he'll be out there.
Quick follow-up to that, Coach, if I can, real quick. You've talked continuously in these last 2 years about, and you just mentioned it right now, about not being able to kill Frank. And I think a lot of your players kind of fit into that category. Is because of what you're coming off of this past Saturday. You pretty excited to see how these guys respond on Friday night?
I am. Like I told them as soon as the game was over, there were only 3 teams that hadn't lost before we went down. Now there's only, I think, 2 left. I'm not even for sure of that. I haven't looked up. But everybody else has had to handle a loss. Let's see how we handle it. And I know our 2 practices have been fantastic. And I'm excited to see what we look like Friday night.
Thank you. We can try Raul again real quick, see if his mic's working. If not, I can ask his question for him, and then we can start to wrap up and get Coach Traylor on his way. Raul? No, it looks like it's still not working. That's okay. So, Coach, this is from Raul Dominguez of the Associated Press, and he wanted to ask how quickly you had your team forget about last week's loss, or do you want them to forget about it?
It's a fine line. You know, we had a team meeting as soon as we got back, because I hadn't watched the game, but by the time we landed, of course, the plane ride was just as rough as the game was. Isn't that the way it always goes? I mean, I asked the pilot, what was the plane ride like going to be? And he said, it's going to be rough, Coach. We're going to go through a bunch of weather. I'm like, joy. So I'm watching the game, riding a buck and bronco, it felt like. But I got to watch the game, so I knew what more to speak to my team about. And we tried like heck to get that game behind us. But there's still lingering moments in the game that it's kind of like, I don't know, post-traumatic stress syndrome, right? It's like we still feel some of that. And I think we'll be fine Friday, I hope.
Thank you very much. And we'll get our last question here from Greg Luca, and then we'll wrap up, and Coach, we'll get you on your way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeff, you talked about Frank and the health issues with him and how he's feeling pretty good, but in a greater sense, the progress that he's made from last year to this year, it seems like he's come a long way. And now that you can look at the whole body of work at the season, how do you describe just the strides he's made and the way he's developed as a player?
Well, he's the reason we're here. And I know he takes it very personal that only people talk about Bailey Zappi. Nobody ever speaks about Frank. And that's just the way I want it with Frank. He loves to be doubted. He's been doubted most of his career, whether that be injury, whether that be his throwing form, whether that be he won't stay in the pocket. He takes all that stuff like great competitors do. He wants to prove people that he's a good quarterback and he's a championship quarterback. Man, we wouldn't be here without 0.
All right. Well, thank you, Coach. Again, we really appreciate your time, and thank you, everybody, for joining us. Coach, best of luck this week. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and we will see you on Friday in San Antonio. Everybody else, just wanted to let you know that we are going to have a audio and video recording version of this call available on our box account. I will email out that link, and then I will also make sure that gets to Kyle at UTSA, also to Brian and Matt at Western Kentucky, to make sure that everybody gets the link to the call, and you can use that for anything you need. But again, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time, appreciate you participating, and look forward to seeing a lot of you on Friday night in San Antonio. Thank y'all very much.